all of these individuals bearing witness to what they saw, what they actually experienced with Roy Moore. The officer said she had to keep him away from the cheerleaders. But we'll get to that. Joining us now from, well, I don't think she's been to Puerto Rico. I don't think she's still there, although I'm not sure. My dear friend, president of the AFT, American Federation of Teachers, Randi Weingarten. Randi, good morning. Are you still in Puerto Rico?
No, I got back last night.
Oh, you just got back. Okay. Somebody has not forgotten about Puerto Rico. I'm glad that somebody's Randi Weingarten, because in this news cycle, we move on. There's still a lot of challenges there. Randi, tell us about your trip, if you would.
So, we have, first off, it's great to be on with you, and happy Thanksgiving
Same to you.
All of your listeners. And so, imagine this, Mark, that you're in school or you're, trying to live your life, and you still have no electricity. And it's 2 months after the hurricane. And, you have running water, but you're told by the authorities that you better boil the water before you use it for cooking or you drink it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the schools, some of them have gas so that the amazing, lunch ladies and others can cook. And they told me, even this week, that this is basically the only meal for a bunch of the kids that they have. This is the new normal. 2 months without electricity. So whether it's, because it's incredibly hot, or whether it's that you cannot turn on a radio, you cannot turn on a light, 2 months. And this is in San Juan. I'm not even talking about this time. We didn't even get to the mountainous areas, which, we are told is, quite forgotten. And so what we did a few weeks ago, I was there. We have the teachers are our affiliate. So we did two things. The AFL-CIO sent a plane down about 3 weeks after the hurricane, 2 to 3 weeks after the hurricane, with about 300 workers, from Teamsters to electricians to nurses, who just helped. And the stories are harrowing because it was pretty clear at that point just how inappropriate the federal response has been. And then what we also did is I went down during that period of time both to see my peeps, which is what you do if you're a union. You fight and you care. And then to also, be and cheerlead our amazing nurses that had gone down, because we are the second largest nurse union. And that trip, I think, was the hardest trip I've ever taken, just because of how forgotten and abandoned Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands have been by our federal government. The response was incredibly poor, if you remember, and that the president was much more fixated on NFL players than he was on figuring out, and golf, than he was on figuring out what the response should be to these islands. So what we did after that trip, and frankly, the mayor of San Juan, Carmen Yulín Colón, basically gave us this idea. To everybody, you say, what can you do? What can we do?
Mm-hmm.
We saw these, because of the water situation, people drinking contaminated water, no electricity to boil water, even if you had tap water, and on and on and on. And it was 3 weeks ago. It was not only a humanitarian crisis, but it was a health crisis. So we said, what if we could get these water purification systems into people's homes? And there's this Kohler Clarity water filter that you can get for $30. And then then there were the bigger systems so what we decided was, what if we could get a few groups that would work with us and put together a goal of 100,000 of these smaller filters and 50 of the bigger ones, so that the 100,000 would go into schools and families' homes, so that they would have, drinking water and cooking water, and the 50 would go to, the ring of not-for-profits, unions, boys and girls clubs, hospitals, municipalities that are really, what provide the social services as well as, of other kind of life to the great people of Puerto Rico. So, and to the Virgin Islands if our locals in Virgin Islands wanted it. So we did, and what happened is we called it Operation Agua, and we have, think about this, Operation Blessings, an evangelical Christian group that is on the ground and is, the key to all this because they understand these water systems. Tote Maritime Company, that is a carrier that brings a lot of the water systems for free, an American carrier under the Jones Act, the Seafarers Union, AFT, Hispanic Federation, ourselves, and the list is starting to go on and on in terms of who is helping.
Mm-hmm.
And yesterday, we announced that we had gotten already, and 5,000 more are coming this week. We had hoped that they would be there already, but we've gotten over 3,000 filters already. We got it to 400 schools to serve 125,000 students.
Wow.
So that's so in a month, and this is called Operation Agua,
mm-hmm.
and any of your listeners can still donate. We've raised over $1 million, but in order to do all this stuff, we're going to have to raise, I think, 2 to 3. But we have gotten water systems to a couple of hospitals. We've gotten them to a couple of municipalities. We've gotten them to, the big ones. And the small ones, we've gotten, I would say, 2,000 to 3,000 to these 400 schools to actually have them have clean water as of yesterday and today for their kids.
This is
OperationAgua.com.
This is incredible, and Randi, of course, what you're doing is so important. 866-99-SERIOUS, folks. If you take a look at our social media right now, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, make it plain. You can actually see the website on your screen. $30 provides an in-home purifier that filters and provides up to 24 liters of safe water per day to a family in need. These units require no electricity and have an estimated filter life up to 5,000 liters. $150 buys in-home purifiers for 5 families. $300 provides desperately needed water for 10 Puerto Rican families. $5,000 delivers a disinfectant generator that can disinfect 150,000 gallons per day, enough safe water for hundreds of people in local communities. This is Operation Agua. Donate water filters for families in Puerto Rico in need of safe water, folks. That's what we're asking you to do, and it's Randy Weingarten, the president of AFT, here with us. Randy, tell us again how you even got involved. I mean, we know the mayor's asked for the federal government's help. The mayor of San Juan, the governor of Puerto Rico, has not gotten much of a response from this administration. Did who reached out to you since they couldn't get a response from the administration? Who reached out to you to even get involved from down there?
Well, I know this is going to sound weird, but look, we have we reached out ourselves, our
Okay.
members,
Good.
the teachers, and frankly, the teachers affiliated with our union on August 3rd. We had spent, given everything that's going on in Puerto Rico, they realized that they were stronger together, that they couldn't they were an independent union, and they realized that they couldn't do things alone anymore. And we actually, had spent a lot of time talking to the leadership there. We were down there, I had been down there a few times, but I was down with a delegate assembly on August 3rd where they took a vote, about like 98% to 2% to join the AFT. And frankly, Mark, we have been, in every one of these storms, we have been really helping. I mean, that's what you do for members and for your communities. You help.
Yeah.
So we've been to Houston. We've spent in Florida, for example. There's this technology that you can use to actually text a large number of people individually. So right after this, during and after the storm, we texted basically 50 or 60,000 people to see just if they were okay. So, using technology to care. Houston, we actually worked with the Barbara Bush Foundation to get books to the schools who had been dislocated and other kind of essential supplies. So, but you have to show up. You can't just do this from, thousands of miles away. And frankly, I would actually argue that a lot of the election results are that people felt like Democrats in 2016, the Democrats hadn't shown up. They, that they were very focused on, and they have left behind a lot of people in rural areas. And as a result, what happens is they become subject to a whole bunch of demagoguery and scapegoating, which, the President of the United States is really, really good at.
Yeah.
But so we kind of feel like as a union we have to show up. So as soon as it was not safe enough, as soon as you were not a nuisance by showing up, because a minute after a hurricane, you can't show up a minute afterwards because people need the time to pull themselves together.
Right.
And so we started a disaster relief fund, and then realized that this is something that we really this was a way to actually be a service to people.
Yeah.
By trying to get safe drinking water to people.
Yeah. Trump didn't know that Puerto Rico was in the United States. I firmly believe that. And so being in the United States, it should come as no surprise that AFT, which is a union in the United States, would have an affiliate in Puerto Rico because Puerto Rico is in the United States. So,
and by the way, Virgin Islands.
And the Virgin Islands as well.
Forgotten islands.
And now, let me just ask you this, since you brought that up, because we don't want to forget them. Is the situation similar there? Are you all involved in a relief effort there as well?
Yes, the situation is similar. It's in some ways it's harder in Virgin Islands because there's, particularly in St. Thomas, because there's still no hotels open, so that it's very hard to actually, we don't fly private planes and we don't stay in private golf courses, so there's so to get in and out is very hard to do. But the schools are also open. They have much more electricity, but it's a very dire situation in both islands. Both sets of islands have really took a brunt. I shouldn't say that. I'm sure that there are non-American islands that took terrible brunt too, but they took the brunt of both Irma and Maria. And they run on tourism, and if you don't have tourism, and that basically is a generating income in San Juan, in a lot of Puerto Rico now and in Virgin Islands. So it's not just the recovery, but the economy that the chief, the chief economic driver is not available right now.
Yeah. 866-99-SIRIUS, 866-997-4747. I'm sorry, go ahead.
They just say, but the other thing that I'm seeing, Mark, and is that this government, this federal government, instead of actually helping, they're using this as an opportunity to privatize and to create vulture capitalists.
Right.
So, for example, we hear even in Houston, there's rumors about they're going to try to put the Houston schools under state control. Like, why would that happen? We're seeing now finally a trend to get rid of state control, like in Philadelphia, in Newark, because it didn't work. Why would you put the Houston schools under a democratically elected school board under state control? Because the democratically elected school board is now anti-charter? Why would you do that? Number two, we're hearing this from both Virgin Islands and from Puerto Rico that they are readying charter bills like the ones that were in Michigan that would enable for-profit charters to essentially take money from the public system and give it to charter operating companies, under the guise of, well, we have no money to fix the schools or to do anything else. So it's really, these are the other rumors we are hearing, that the right wing, the Koch brothers, the DeVos family, the Trump administration is using these terrible tragedies as an opportunity to privatize in some ways, like they initially did with Whitefish Energy. Saw how well that worked, having the linemen, having the privatization of the electrical system from Whitefish Energy, and what a horrible job they did.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is abominable that the administration would take advantage of the situation, but we've seen that in disasters. Unfortunately, too often these things happen, and then it becomes an opportunity to really try and exploit people in this way, and to drive them away from where they are. And like I said, I don't think Trump initially knew that Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands were in the United States. But once they found out, it's like, oh, well, let's run down here and privatize, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's despicable.
And it's so. I mean, people are so resilient, but everything the electricity needs to get on in the island.
Yeah.
This is an island that operates just like the rest of America in the 21st century, but the conditions right now are as if we're in 1917, not 20th.
Yeah.
It's just so sad. And yet the resilience is amazing. I mean, I saw great teaching being done in the middle of this kind of no electricity situation.
Folks, we want you to donate to this cause, aft.org/operation-agua, operation-agua, aft.org. You just go to aft.org. It'll take you right there.
Right.
As we said earlier, even just I know everybody's getting ready for the holiday tomorrow, but think about those who don't even have water while we're buying our turkey and stuffing and fixings. Think about those that don't even have water, ladies and gentlemen. $30 provides an in-home purifier that filters and provides up to 24 liters of safe water per day to one family. $150 for 5 families, of course. $300 to 10 families. And $5,000 for a disinfectant generator that can disinfect 150,000 gallons per day. Please, ma'am, please, sir, consider this and think about it. This is what these folk who are suffering need. Let us not forget about the people of Puerto Rico and the Virgin Islands. And again, it says a lot about Randi and the work she does on behalf of AFT as president. It is just like her to do this. I know her. I know this union. They have stepped in to fill in the gap where others have not, including our very own administration in the White House. Randi, the story you shared is very, very touching, and I'm sure it will inspire people even today to give, as those who are listening. And again, folks, this is up on our social media. Those of you listening on the radio who are not on social media, go to our social media to see the website. Click on all the links. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, make it plain. Randi, I commend you. What's the follow-up since you're back now? I mean, it's hard to. I mean, you.
So I'm gonna hawk this. I'm gonna market this. I'm gonna hawk it as much as I can, which is what we've done.
Good.
The follow-up is there's a lot of follow-up. First off, the Puerto Ricans need our support. The people in Virgin Islands need our support. We need to make it clear that they're not abandoned, and that as American citizens, they should get the kind of relief like any other American citizen should get if there is a natural disaster. Yeah. That is what FEMA is for. That's what we should do. So this does not substitute from the federal response. And frankly, the governor has asked for about $94 billion. And there is the newest package that the president has put out is nowhere near that. So we need to help Puerto Rico. We still need to help Florida and Texas and Virgin Islands and frankly Northern California. That's number one. And with this tax bill, where's the money going to come from if you cut taxes so much and cut revenue so much that you already are starting with a $1.5 trillion deficit? We need money in the federal budget so that these kind of situations can be addressed. That's number one. Number two, we're doing whatever we can to help not only schools open, but to get people the kind of books and the supplies that they need, because there are a lot of schools where there was tremendous mold and sand and mud, and so even though they're starting to open, there's a lot of destruction, and so that's kind of our next stage in terms of how we help get people books and supplies so that for their kids. And then the third is obviously we are not going to rest until every single person in Puerto Rico has safe drinking water. Yeah. And we are about, I would say, a third of the way to our goal of 100,000 Clarity filters and to 50 of the bigger, generator-based, disinfectant-based filters, purifiers. But so if anyone on this Thanksgiving feels it within themselves to give, every single cent goes to Operation Agua. Every single cent. There's no administrative costs that the union takes. So it's either, you can go to hashtag Operation Agua on Twitter. You can go to OperationAgua.com. You can go to our website, as you said, Mark, but those are the next steps. And this is the generosity of people. That is giving Puerto Rican safe drinking water.
Randi, we so appreciate you folks. Please give and give generously. Hashtag Operation Agua on all social media, AFT.org. It's all very, very easy to find. Randy, thank you for sharing this with us. And again, I commend you for your selflessness and your sacrifice, and the entire AFT union and that union down in Puerto Rico as well. Thank you so much, Randy, and I hope that you and your family have a wonderful holiday, okay?
You too, Mark. Have a great holiday.
All right, you too. Take care now.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye. 866-99-SIRIUS, 866-997-4748. Don't forget, folks, Operation Agua. Find it there on your social media. Go to aft.org. We'll take a quick break. We'll go offline on social media, but join us on the radio. Sirius 6 in progress, 127. Resistance Radio. Get woke. Get ready for impeachment. This is MIP.
Everywhere is war.